Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle. I am Gary, or better known DWTT in the social networks and in a interverse or universe or whatever you want to call it. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Interwebs, Gary. Interwebs.
Interwebs. There you go, interwebs. Ray is, as you know, he's on vacation, so he's out. So I'm taking over the hosting duties today, and I guess to my left, but I guess you're right. We've got Stan. Stan, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. Looking forward to getting into it tonight. A few things been happening in between the games.
Cool. What is
She
going
wants
on?
to say hi.
Oh, my family just started. You want to say hi? Come on, say hi. You can say hi. Look, this is my daughter.
Hiya.
Hey,
Hi, daughter. How are you doing?
it's Chloe. So yeah. So
She's an athlete too.
she's an athlete. She's off to she'll be swimming in college next year. So
Oh, a swimmer.
yes.
My missus used to do a lot of that stuff, swim meets and that when she was younger.
Cool. Yeah, so she'll be doing that in college in the next season. And below Stan, we've got Alonzo. How you doing?
Good, Gary. How you
Lonzo
doing,
has
guys?
butterflies. He's nervous tonight.
He always has butterflies. He's
Good to be on
fine.
the show, guys, and can't wait to talk about Arsenal and how they disappointed us the past two games. So, yeah,
Cool.
good to be on.
Definitely. We have a guest, and to to his left or to his right, depending on how you're looking at this, we've got not saving the best for last, I guess, or just last but not least. We've got Tony. Tony, how you doing?
Yeah, the best coming last. That's what you got, Gary.
Is that what they call it?
Yep. I'm doing all right.
Cool.
Curious to see what players we're being linked to and players being linked away.
Cool. And just like to say hi to those in the chat right now. We've got Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom, how you doing? He's a resident of Arsenal Fan Circle.
President
Yeah.
Stalker.
Yes, he joining us. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I know it's late for you, but that's all right. We're entertaining, all right? Got Big Scunner's in the house. How you doing, Big Scunner? Big Scunner just had himself some Chick-fil-A. Yum. And we've got Thunder Road. How you doing? Yeah, that's right. Gilbert Gottfried passed away. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting old when all of my comedians are all my celebrities are starting to disappear. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, I only have like 3 or 4 comedians left now. Pretty
He,
much
he
all
was
it
the
is.
guy that he always seemed to talk just a little bit like that. All of the time. This guy, all of the time, talked like that.
Stan, you sounded like a pirate, kind of from New York.
nah, he had a little. There was some there. I heard some Gilbert in there. I heard some Gilbert.
I mainly heard of a fucking pirate from New
Same
York.
thing was
You're being picky. You're being picky.
just
Stop it.
yesterday. I was listening to something and they played him leaving somebody on the telephone message in his natural voice, and it's very calm. It's very quiet. He talks like that. Doesn't sound anything
Like that guy.
totally different. But so every time you saw him, he was always in character. I remember seeing like I think it was like a Celebrity Apprentice that they used to do in America, that TV show, The Apprentice. And he talks like that all of the time, unless he's in private. But there you go.
That's crazy. All right, and also in the chat, Stephen, how you doing? Welcome to the
Steve.
show. All right, so we got our crew in here. We'll hopefully have some more before the end of this, and we'll welcome them to the show when they come in. So, I'm trying to think. Do you guys want to talk about what is the last game? I know some of you have already done, so I know I have. But before we move on to where we're going, we can talk about where we came from. And at least for me, I think that Brighton game was the easiest game we're going to have left on our schedule, and I'm hoping for a total 180 come Saturday morning for me.
Yep,
Because-
the manager got that one totally wrong. Hopefully he doesn't get this one wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll start with you, Stan. So tell me about at least I guess a final synopsis of that Brighton game. Sorry, yeah, that Brighton game.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm still doing Gottfried. I'm sure you guys have. I'm sure you. Once the voice is there, you can't stop doing it. But I'm sure you guys on the Sunday show probably looked at this. I popped onto the Dial Square with Andrew talking about this, and it's been a while since the game now, but I'm still of the same opinion. I think the manager got it wrong with his selection. I kind of still feel a little bit now for Nuno Tavares. Where does this leave him moving forward? Because as I said on the show with Andrew, if I'm Nuno Tavares sat in the stands looking at what's happening on the pitch and seeing, I'm sat there looking at how the manager has ripped up the whole playbook. He's ripped out the one good thing that we might have had left in midfield, all because of me. I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is all my fault. This is all my fault because he doesn't want to play me in the position that he brought me in to play. This is a player that Mikel Arteta brought in himself. And it wasn't so long ago we were hearing stuff about Manchester City where we're sitting up and taking notice of some of his performances. So I still feel the same, that the manager got it wrong, but I do notice as well that it does feel that Mikel Arteta is on a day-to-day sort of basis with his job. He has a good game, he gets applaudits from the media. A lot of fans from outside say they like what he's doing. As soon as he makes a mistake, though, there are certain people that are just like, that's it, he's crap, he's got to go. I don't think that's going to help. So I'm just sitting tight, taking it each game at a time. I've never been Arteta in or Arteta out. I don't think that I have to make a definitive on it. I'm waiting to see how he shakes out at the end of the season. And we're going to find out soon enough whether we reach our goals, because there's 8 games left.
I hear you. Yeah, no, it is. As Ray says, it's a little roller coaster ride that we're on, and it's the ups and downs are really close together, so you don't really get an opportunity to rest sometimes. But hopefully we can continue going upwards. And Alonso, anything else you got to say about this Brighton game?
Yeah, so like everyone has said, that Arteta got this lineup all wrong. Granit Xhaka, did his best at left back, but that's not his position. And he did it before, I believe it was last year, where he tried to put Xhaka in that same position, and we just didn't play right. And whenever we are down a goal, it just takes us so long to try to muster something up. And then, the final minutes, we're trying to score again. And it's like, where's all this anxiety at the beginning of the game when he scored the second goal on us? And Odegaard had a great goal. I'm not gonna take it away from him, but when you're trying to be a team that's lower than you at the table, then why are you stressed out so much that you have to put everything on the line? And Nketiah missed the goal, which is a good effort on his part. But it goes to show you that he offers more than what Lacazette does the whole game, and that's pretty telling. If I'm a fan, a supporter of Arsenal, that why do you wait so long to make these substitutions when you're struggling? You know what I'm saying? And then you put Pepe on at the last half of the game whenever he should have been on maybe the 60th minute, right, when you're trying to get a goal in. And it's just all messed up, man, And I knew that our youngsters will struggle during these tough times, and they have. And it's kind of not shocking, but you expect more from your leaders, and we don't have that right now, in my opinion.
You're right about that. We came out flat, stayed there, and then all of a sudden decided, all right, we've got nothing else to lose. Well, what happened after the first 2 goals? After the first goal, still nothing. After halftime, getting disappointed. At least you come out and respond to that, right? They took a goal away from you. No, nothing, right? So, yeah, you're right about that. The urgency, the sense of urgency, and the fire just wasn't there. So, Tony, how did you feel about, I guess now that we've had some time to digest what we just saw, how do you feel about anything else you got to say about Brighton before we continue on?
Still just disappointed like I was at the weekend. Thought the Arteta got it wrong. Thought the players didn't put any passion into it. It didn't seem like they wanted to put in a shift at all. No urgency, like Alonso said. Just we're kind of back to playing that ball, stale football, especially with players in our own position. Hopefully, he lines them up where they're supposed to. Going by what we're hearing about training, Divides is back at left back because that's missing a striker, so it'll be interesting. So we'll talk about that more later.
Cool. And there was a comment that come out that we can talk about, so we'll jump on that one. And John Wayne has joined us. Welcome to the show. Yep. And this comment here, and I guess we'll start again with Stan. And this, we'll kind of jump around as long as you guys are okay with it. As long as the comments come in, so we don't miss them, and we'll just continue on. We'll jump back and forth between what we see in the chats and talking about the previous and then the future game that we have going on. But this one here, Steve Denham, Eddie's supposed to be going to start some games now. There's no way he should get a chance before Pepe. He's leaving to get so give him a game time. He's not as good as Pepe. That's true. Yeah, Pepe is getting no love from the manager, right? And Kedia does nothing and continues to get supported by the manager. And, that's, for me, that's one of the, I guess, the negatives for Arteta is that he has his favorites and it has nothing to do with the performance at all. Somebody who Pepe will give us 30, 40% good performances out of all the games and minutes that he plays. And Kedia gives us a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
No goals. So Stan, tell me.
It's kind of like, from one thing that I think we've seen since Mikel Arteta has been our manager, is that he seems to have like a Christmas card list. And depending on if you're the first name or at the bottom, is kind of where you are in his standing. There's a part of me that's like, well, I get it. He needs to change something, and if he's going to start putting Eddie in there, he's the next person that plays in that natural position. It isn't a natural position for Pepe. But then the argument on the other side of the coin is, well, left back isn't a natural position for Granit Xhaka. So he can be, we've seen evidence that he will move a player into another position if he thinks he's in a situation where it's an emergency and it's like, I must break the glass and get it out and put it in now, so to speak. So as much as I try to find an excuse for him, there's always something that counters it the other way. So I'm not sure what his thinking is. I mean, as for the players leaving, it sounds to me that Eddie Nketiah wants to leave the club. It sounds, for whatever reason, though, that Mikel Arteta doesn't want him to leave the club. Whereas on the other hand, you've got a Nicola Pepe who looks like he's being shown the door by the club. There's a lot of rumours of him being linked to this club and that club, going back to France. And it sounds like the stories are coming more from the Arsenal side more than the player. But then when you hear the manager speak about the player personally, he talks about how hard he's working. So it's hard to understand what his thought process is, but I think it is time that we do. I was nervous about changing anything in the team. So with so few games left, but Lacazette has fallen so far away now from any kind of duties at all that you'd expect from a striker that I'm in the opinion now that we haven't got much else to lose if you want to reach our goals. So I'm glad that at least the manager is thinking of an alternative. I really don't know what the best alternative would be, whether it's a false nine or going with a proven striker in Eddie Nketiah. However, he hasn't really scored any goals either from open play.
Yeah. Who knows?
He never really has scored in a league either.
Yeah, who knows what's going on in the head of Arteta. Well, before we continue on, we'll go to Gunnar Vet has joined us. Welcome to the show, Gunnar Vet. And as we continue talking on Steve Denham's comments here, I guess, Tony, you wanted to say something on this Pepe discussion? Yeah.
To me, he should be getting the time. He did everything right last year when he's played. Score goals, do assists, then kept getting benched. I think Arteta doesn't fancy him at all. I don't think the club fancies him much at all either. And we're looking at wingers on both sides of the field, so have a feeling we might see Martinelli more a striker next year. Then we'll have somebody come in to replace Pepe.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Somebody's coming in, and as Mr. Tom says here, in Katie, probably will definitely get us into the Europa League based on the way he's been playing, which doesn't require much based on that some of the teams around us. It'd be I maybe I'm jinxing it, but I kind of feel it'd be really hard of us to drop to seventh, right? Am I jinxing us? I hope not.
I thought Mr. Tom was ready to sign him for a free back to Leeds.
Yeah. So we go to Lonzo. So Lonzo, tell me.
Well, it really is a shame that Pep game time. It's evident that he favors Martinelli and Saka because Saka, if necessary, could play on the right, whereas Pepe can play on left. So, but then Arteta won't play Martinelli up front. So he unfortunately is just stuck there for a time. And if there's an injury, then perhaps, but we don't see that happening because then Moses will come in and play the wing spot. So, basically, Pepe is just sitting there along with Nketiah. But, Nketiah at least has been trying to score goals to where Lacazette has not. And it's kind of unusual because at some point, one of those goals has to go in for Nketiah. But I think Steven's right. I think Arteta's going to have to start playing Nketiah more often because what good does it do for Lacazette to just be there and just not do nothing? So, it's an odd situation, I'm sure, for Pepe just being there and just practicing. But, he has to do something when he's on the pitch as well, just at least to show his worth, I guess, or prove his worth, rather.
Yeah, and, you think about it now, why is Nketiah at least inconsistent when it comes to scoring? More than likely, it's because he doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
Why are a lot of our players that don't start consistently not playing well when they come into the game? Because they never play. And you can't, if you have a full squad, you need to utilize them somehow. Either they need to get starts or they need to get minutes, one of the two. Nketiah just comes in when we when we're forced to because nothing else is working. And comes back to also another thing for me. Arteta said practice, right, is where you kind of earn your spot. My understanding, right, is that Martinelli's been practicing up top, right? Also, Pepe's been practicing well and showing up. But still, we're not seeing them, at least, come in and maybe helping the team out when they need it. Because we definitely need somebody up top. Martinelli's been practicing there, supposedly, right? Pepe's been coming back. He came back from AFCON, ready to go. And we've seen him come in, assist and score, right? And still, he doesn't get at least the confidence from his manager that he can do a job, especially when we're struggling. After the Crystal Palace game, you would think he would pull the trigger a lot faster in regards to maybe getting some scoring out of his team. And it would have been okay to put somebody in at halftime who was coming in to do scoring. And we're not seeing that. You guys have anything else to say on the Pepe discussion here?
Yeah, I do. With regards to what you're saying about Eddie and Nketiah, I personally think that for a young player that's come through the academy with hopes of trying to dislodge somebody and make themselves a name and work themselves into the manager's mind for the first team, I actually think that Eddie Nketiah has had ample opportunity in the 2019-2020 season. He had 13 appearances. Obviously, not all of them are starts, but 13 appearances and only 2 goals, no assists. And in the year after that, in the 2020-21 season, 17 appearances, again, just 2 goals, 1 assist. And this year, he's had 13 appearances, no goals, and 1 assist. I think he's had a lot of chances to show me as a fan, a supporter, of what he's all about. And for me, I'm glad that he's not. I'm glad for whatever reason that he's decided that he doesn't want to stay, because I just think he's taking up a space. There's nothing more than I would love Eddie Nketiah to work out. He's one of our own. He's come through the academy. He's from South London, just around the corner from where I'm from. I'd love him to be playing as our number 9, but it's obvious to me that he hasn't got what it takes at this level to play for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, although I definitely agree with what you're saying. To me, it's, well, then what's the team doing? Why is he still here? Why are they pushing him out the door like they've done to anybody else who they don't want? And why did they even give him a contract? They're trying to sign him. I mean, none of that correlates with what you're saying. Like, he's not performing, so he's probably not worthy of your time. But yeah, we will keep him on, and we presented him with a new contract.
It's the reason why that if we are going to do some kind of a change up front, I would rather we draw at the well of a Martinelli or an ESR at a false 9. It's not ideal, but at least we know that they're staying around. So in their mind, they've got the bigger picture they're looking at next year. Whereas Eddie just he goes home after every match and his mind's thinking about where he's going to be playing next season. I'd rather go with the slightly unknown quantity than keep sticking with Eddie, because as far as I'm concerned, when his heart was in it, he wasn't putting up the numbers, and surely his heart can't be in it now because he hasn't put pen to paper.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know if you guys agree or not, but this is the proactive versus reactive Arsenal. He should already be gone. It shouldn't be the case.
He should have been gone at the start of the season.
Yeah.
We should have loaned out Balogun last season, so we could have used Balogun this year instead of Eddie. Totally wasted his season. At this age, it's more like 2 seasons. The amount of development we would have got out of him on loan. Instead, we could have reached a deal with his agent to re-sign him. Drug heels, still should have been playing a player. He's part of our thing. The player always said he wanted to stay. But for whatever reason, we just let him run the reserves, basically. But as Stan mentioned, I really want to see ESR as a false 9 would be my throw at see what works. Most accurate shooter in the Premier League this season so far. Hasn't played that many minutes. It's got 10 goals. I'd put him out there. See what happens.
Yeah, I mean, all of that sounds good if your manager actually believes them. He must not believe the stats, right? Every time somebody says, "Oh, I hear all these stats," well, you know what? There's more to it than in the stats.
It's all about training, Gary.
Emil Smith-Rowe comes in, he scores. I mean, he scored like 4 goals in 4 games in a row he scored for us, right?
Off the bench after
right?
like 65th. Only like 25-minute cameos.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's still not doing enough for him. I mean, he's one of your leading scorers, and there's no reason for him to be playing from the bench, coming off the bench at all, right? There's no reason for Martinelli to be coming off the bench. Not way if we're talking, especially with the fact that we only play 1 game a week, right? That was what we were talking about. The only reason why you would rotate them is if they're tired, 1, or 2. You've got multiple games in a week, but we don't. So at this point, where I think we're in dire straits right now. We need wins and we need consistency with our best players, right? For me, Martinelli, Emil Smith-Rowe, Saka, Erdegaard, all have to play. All right, every game. I mean, I understand this whole concept of bringing them off the bench for to change things up. Can we not just try to win the game in the first half and not have to win it in the last?
Just put your 11 best players out there and see what happens.
The last 30. I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I just covered my screen up here.
I say you just put your best 11 out there, put them in a position they're good at, and go with that. There's no sense of resting them. There's room for ESR and Odegaard, for Martinelli and Pepe if you want to go that route. There are lots of players that you can throw out there that go together.
Yeah.
I just think that we're so thin with numbers. I worry that sometimes we try to play our best hand in the game from kickoff, and if our best hand doesn't work, then we don't have any variety from the bench to bring anybody in and change it up. You're looking at the bench and like, okay, Rob Holding, El Neni, Nketiah, and then a load of kids that have never played in the Premier League. So I understand what you're saying about he's scoring 4 goals, but he's off the bench. But I worry that if we play the best hand and it doesn't go right, then what is there? Do you know what I mean? There's nothing to back it up with.
And you're stuck with him for 90 minutes, Stan.
Yeah, I hear you, but whatever we're doing now isn't working, and we keep weakening ourselves. Well, if let's put our strongest front up there, our strongest attack up there. If you're going to weaken yourself in certain areas, at least strengthen in other areas. Because what did we do in the last game? Right, we weakened ourselves in midfield. We basically put a player out of position on the back line, so now you got a weakness on the left side. Gabriel is playing iffy, so now you got a player. Everybody's saying Gabriel isn't. He hasn't been playing where he's been, as far as his performances haven't been the same. So
well, obviously Barcelona don't think so, because apparently Gabriel Megalegs is going to Barcelona
for 33 million.
But I'm sure we'll come on to that a bit later.
Can you imagine 17 million less than Ben White? And he's a better player.
Yeah. Well, I guess they both have had their good and bad days, and right now Gabriel seems to be going through a little bad patch here.
Well, if they're partners with 2 partners he's had for the last 3 games, he probably wouldn't be doing too good either, Gary.
Yeah, but you know what? He has played better, with the worst people on around him. So that's not, when he first started, who was he playing next to? Right? I mean, it was either Bellerin or it was Bellerin around? I don't remember. Yeah, I think Bellerin was still around. Yeah,
yeah, but Bellerin was on the right.
And then it's on the right. It's what we're talking about, right?
And because he also had Rob Holding there as well. He had Rob Holding as his partner and
David Luiz, I think, for a bit, wasn't it?
Luiz, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well, you know what? Talking about, what if, I really think we didn't need to let David go. Not necessarily because he needs to play. Yes, he's a red card in him, but so does Xhaka. And I'd rather take David Luiz over Xhaka if we're going to talk about comparing players who are, suspect when it comes to cards. He actually showed,
Luiz,
as far as I'm concerned,
leadership.
He actually showed how to play the position. He actually did that. The way Arteta wanted it to play, he actually showed us that. And he could clear the ball with his head.
Looks like rolling a wheel. You're eventually going to come on the torture part.
Yeah, I mean, I see Stan there like going, nah, and I'm like, okay, so you're telling me
Stan's not fucking buying it, Gary.
Holding, Marie are better than David Luiz?
You're selling me David Luiz, and I'm not.
I'm not selling him as a starter.
He's selling me.
I never wanted him in the first place. I thought we could have. And especially always sort of like left a bad taste in the mouth because we just bought in Pepe, if I remember rightly, and little Don Raul was running around like, you know what I mean, like a dog with 2 dicks, saying like, "Yeah, I'm Don Raul," and I remember him saying, "It's not over, it's not over. I'm going to go and get Upa Makamo next as well," and he came back with David Luiz, and I was just like, "That's not what you said." You know what I mean? And I never wanted David Luiz. It just reminded me of William Gallas, like when he came from Chelsea. I was glad to see the back of David Luiz, but yeah, I get it. Some of the leadership qualities and that, but I just felt that there were times when he actually hindered us, and he wasn't setting a good example to some of our youngsters in how to play the position. Personally,
but Xhaka is. I mean, we're talking about our lead. Like,
no,
he's like part of our leadership group, like,
and I feel the same, and that is, I'd like an upgrade, please. I feel exactly the same. I mean, at some point, I suppose we're going to talk about the Granit Xhaka interview, right? Because one of our players has come out. You know, he's a controversial player, and I'm
We
gonna
really
keep it-
have to
I'm gonna-
cover that, Stan?
I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it really short. I managed to stomach about 6 minutes of it before I switched it off because he just annoys me personally. That's just my opinion. I
It's
prefer to
funny
read.
how
I
great
prefer-
his PR. Does he have
I
Ozil's
prefer to
PR now?
read. I prefer to read like the transcript bits of it than actually listen to him. And as I say, I'd
Are
yeah,
you sure you?
love,
Stan, repeat what you just said. I know you've read it. He's
Yeah.
not leaving until he wins something, Stan.
Yeah, but I look at it this way: if you're not leaving till you've won anything, maybe we could have reached that objective a lot quicker if you didn't continually give away needless red cards and hinder the team at very important moments. We may have got close to
Slow
our
down
goal.
the tempo, backwards passes.
That's just my opinion. And also, he also said there was also something about the way that he plays and the cautions that he gets in the game that he's not bothered about it. It doesn't really bother him. Well, it bothers me, you know. So I'm not going to slate him. I've talked about him many times. I don't know him as a person. Don't know what he's like with his wife and kids. Don't believe that his family should be persecuted online for all that sort of stuff. But just as an Arsenal player, me personally, I'd like an upgrade on that player. And I believe an upgrade would get us closer to our goals. Nothing personal.
I hear you.
But he thinks he's going to be here next year or not, Stan?
I hope not. I hope not. And if he is, I hope it's as a backup to something that's better.
I think we're going to be stuck with him.
Yeah. So let me go to the chats a little bit here. So in Thunder Road, David Luiz wasn't about leadership. It's actually about showing players how to play that position. A little bit different than what we're asking some of other leaders that are out there. I think he could show people how to play that position. Was he a liability? Yes, but everybody is. Lacazette, leadership or not, his liability is he's taken away a spot on the field where we actually need to score from. And when he does get in that position to score, it's never even nobody thinks it's going in. Right? So he's given us nothing going forward. Yes, he might give us some leadership and continuity within the team, but I don't think he's doing that either right now. But no, so my leadership, Lacazette leadership, yes, but everything else, no. I mean, no. I mean, we at some point we need to score, and we need a player who's taken up a position up top to be the one to do it. You know, either you move him back even further, right? And then you put somebody in front that can hopefully get a better opportunity to score. So that's kind of what I feel like. So I know we've kind of jumped. There were two subjects that came up in our discussions. So going forward,
Which one are we going to cover, Gary?
Stop talking. So do you want to talk about Xhaka? I actually brought it up to my wife, and she said, just stop. You know, nothing good's going to come out of it because, you know, if you listen, I listened to the video, and a lot of it is about, you know, just social media abuse and stuff that's going on. And so that, you know, that's what he brought up, which, you know, doesn't answer all the questions as to why, but that's what he brought up. And if it's bothering him and that's what he wants to talk about, then it's bothering him. Who am I to say otherwise, right? But we can talk about Xhaka. We talk about Arteta. How would you guys like to proceed?
Gary, so I'm sorry, I didn't see the interview. So what happened?
Yeah, well, let's first decide if we're going to even talk about it.
Well, I'm just curious.
I say pass.
Dan wanted to talk about it.
We've covered it before. There's nothing new in it.
I was just going to say, when I was scrolling and I see like there's a Granit Xhaka interview, it makes me feel the same way as if I was scrolling and I saw there is a James Corden interview. I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to indulge it. I'm not interested. I'll scroll on. I don't want to hear Xhaka. I don't want to hear James Corden.
Yeah, I think Xhaka's got Ozil's PR deal because all these fans are coming out in support of him now. It's just insane.
Yeah, I mean,
he knows what he's doing.
I watched the whole thing just because I want to see what he had to say, and some of the highlights to it, at least for me, are, and this is things we already know.
He's not a leader.
He did not say that, and obviously
I'm saying what you
and obviously he is a leader because that's what the team has has said, and that's what some of the players have said. I don't think it's all a lie, but he said he thinks his reaction was right. And I believe that's when coming off the pitch and all of that. I think it did boil up, and I think he did go too far with it based on what I feel like he was trying to say. I mean, I think after that situation, he did talk about his dad telling him he probably should go. Yeah, and the reason why he didn't go, and as you all know, Arteta said he won't, stay here. Give me 6 months, and basically after the 6 months, I guess he realized he wanted to stay and continue. So there you go. He said he had a piece of paper he could have signed, and he would have been gone.
For 40 million
What happened?
euros.
What, did the pen run out of ink or something?
Arteta said, no, I got you. Stay here.
But was Arteta that desperate for leadership, or was just needed a figurehead that would maybe help the younger players out, so to speak?
If you're okay, tell me this.
He thought he was a leader, and that's why.
Yeah, tell me this. Anybody know? You guys know of Arteta, our captain, right?
Yeah.
Is Xhaka? And would they be? They're not similar captains, so he doesn't see himself when he looks at Xhaka, to me. And obviously, doesn't. If you look at the history of Arsenal, the captains that we've had in the past, you don't see that either, right?
I always thought of Arteta being a classy captain. Whenever he was captain, the year and a half he was captain, the other times he wore the captain's armband, he was hurt. So from what I gathered, Gary and Tony and Stan, was that he was a good captain for Arsenal at that time. He may have shared it with Thomas Vermaelen and Per Mertesacker, even Koscielny. That was our leadership group that was there when Van Persie left. So, maybe he saw it as Xhaka being a captain despite his backlash towards the fans. And let's face it, in society we're often given second chances. But, Xhaka doesn't wear the armband anymore because he knows his place on the pitch is not the captain anymore, because he's seen it handed off to Tierney or whomever else. So, maybe he knows his place now, and maybe he's content with that, and Arteta is as well. But that didn't happen on that thing didn't happen on Arteta's watch. It happened on Emery's watch, if you look back. So maybe there's a second chance there to maybe have him back or come back.
Yeah, but it's like 2 weeks before Arteta took over. He knew what the captain means to Arsenal. He's been there. He knew what happened. He could have spun his team steady straight back into the team.
Yeah. I just kind of feel that when they asked him to, increase the contract and give me another 6 months, and like you mentioned a moment ago, to me that just feels like they already had a lot of surgery to do, and it was just more convenient for them to keep hold of him and to let him go, and to actually have to get up off their asses, go out and find a replacement, because they would have had to have found a replacement for him.
Yeah, I think that's why Arteta keeps keeping him, because he just doesn't want to do the work to find that type of player that he wants.
I call that.
Even though any player will go into that role.
Convenience. To me, it feels like convenience.
No, it's actually lazy. It's lazy because you know what? If I told you the only way you're going to get to play is if you work on specific skills, then you work on those skills, right? His job is to make the team better, and he's like
stupid when we can get Tillmans for 35 million.
It doesn't matter who you bring in, but it's lazy to just keep a player because you don't want to have to then go out and find a replacement. Guess what? They have to do that anyways, right? You let Aubameyang go. They knew they had to get a striker in. They went for number one striker in the window and tried to get him, which I think is
now it sounds like we're doing ridiculous. It again.
But a couple more comments that he said, and then I'll let you guys continue. One of the things he highlighted, which I think is kind of sounds true, is that players are scared. They're scared to make mistakes on the pitch, and that's why they play the way they do. They're really timid. I don't know if you guys see it, but I believe you see it. He said part of his game is to take red cards. 2 red cards this season is kind of where he's at. I don't understand why he would bring up a stat like that. It's not.
Listen, it's the job of a Secret Service agent to take a bullet for the president. It doesn't mean that they pull a gun out and just shoot themselves in the head. You know what I mean?
I'm just telling you what he said, man. I'm telling you what he said.
Yeah, but he
know,
said
he
that
did-
again
he did-
before.
He did
before
make
too,
a comment.
Gary.
One thing, but he did make a comment to me, which basically, if this isn't considered stabbing your boss in the back, I don't know what is. He's like, yeah, I'm getting these 2 cards a season, but why should the team let me play? That's what he said. He actually said that. I'm getting these red cards, but they're still letting me play. Now, Arteta probably doesn't hear that. He just hears an aggressive player who goes out there, blah, 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 and does his thing. But to me, he basically said, you guys are idiots. I'm getting red cards. I'm getting red cards, right? And you're still playing me.
Because to me, it sounds like he's saying, I might be getting his red cards, but in his mind, what he thinks he's bringing to the team, and maybe what he's being told that he brings to the team, it balances it out. I might be getting it, but what I'm actually doing, it's worth more than that. So you got to take the rough with the smooth, which I don't see it that way at all.
Whenever we won a game after he's got a red card, or when he's got a red card.
Exactly. That's
like we got a red card with Martinelli. I think we won that one, right?
Yeah.
I think we won that game, right? So it didn't hurt us as much, and it was a silly reason to get a red card. But that one. So his red cards hurt us, and their points dropped. I mean, is it the city game that one hurt, right?
But he got
basically
a yellow card.
No, he got a red card. He did the karate kick.
This past game or the game prior?
You're correct. He got the red card in the box, right? No, the karate kick was against Liverpool.
Yeah.
When we drew 0-0.
That was his best Shawn Michaels impersonation.
Yeah. So I mean so I watched the whole thing to see what he had to say. Most of it I think we already knew.
Literally tuning up the band.
Yeah. So are we done with this? Can we move on? Can we move on? I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's move on to, let's talk about Arteta. I think I saw some comments about Arteta. I'll go through some of these comments here. Oh, somebody's going to the dungeon. I don't know. Yeah, Barcelona. I guess that Aubameyang to Barcelona thing isn't working anymore, right? And
I saw someone put up a graphic. It was something like, how many shots that he'd taken. It was like how many on target and all that sort of stuff, that they did. And it was bad. It didn't look good. But everyone has an off game. But I look at it this way: he's no longer our problem. Do you know what I mean? He's no longer our problem. Piers Morgan might think it still is. That's up to Piers Morgan. Do you know what I mean? Because he seems to be raving about every little thing that he does over there.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, I mean, you never know if a gamble pays off until you get to the very end. Getting rid of a lot of the players that Mikel Arteta has done, including Aubameyang, it's a gamble. And what I mean by that is, if I woke up in the middle of the night, emptied me and my missus's bank accounts, drove to Vegas, put it all on the roulette table on black, and black comes up, and then I drive home, and then I tell her what I've done and show her the winning ticket, she's going to be calling me the geniuses of geniuses, right? However, if I do that and I lose everything, I better not come back home. Don't even think about going home, because when she finds out, my life won't be worth living. But it's the gamble. And we are not going to know whether some of the gambles that have been taken, whether we agree with them now and think, oh, that's a bit ballsy, but I like it, whether they pay off or not, we're only going to find out when the season ends and we find out where we stand. But I still think that I listened to a podcast, and it was someone that I enjoy listening to, and he was saying that even if we finish 6th, that wouldn't be an improvement. It has to be the top 4. But I kind of feel that I'm not asking. For me, the minimum is 6, and I'm only asking Mikel Arteta to make an improvement of 2 places in the league, 2 spots. And I think that the amount of money that's been invested into the team should be enough, at least, to get us 2 places up, which means that we qualify for the Europa League as a minimum. If we don't make that, then you can look at stuff like, well, did he sell too many players? Should you have done this? But we don't know yet until we see where we land. Do you know what I mean? But I still think 2 places is a fair request and should be achievable with over £220 million spent on the team.
I think 5th should be the priority based on the figures there. It's a lot of money just to improve 2 spots.
I think if we finish 5th or 4th, I'd say 5th because what if City and Liverpool win the Champions League? You know, we got a spot open. So yeah, I think that it's important that we finish well. I think, you know, if we don't finish in Champions League football, the only person to blame is Edu, really, because we should have spent money in the winter transfer window, and we
I've just got a vision of Edu at home listening to this, dropping his sandwich and thinking, "What the fuck are you bringing me into this for? What have I done?"
No, I was watching it. I was watching the show today, and they were actually talking about that, and they're like, "Wait a second, you can't just blame Edu when the transfers don't work, because the same Edu is the same Edu that was in the summer, brought in the 6 players, all contributors, 3 starters, right? Or at least 3 starters, right? Now, the problem with what happened in January window, right, was a couple of things. We heard Arteta say they were okay with what they got, but then we also saw reports that KSC or the management said no. So a couple of deals, they didn't want to do them.
I don't believe that.
But we can't
Sorry,
fire.
I interrupted Alonso. You was in the middle of a run there. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So if we can't fire KSC, right? So the one, unfortunately, that's going to be the fall guy, it's got to be Edu and or Arteta, right? Because in order for them to compete, they have to spend money in the transfer windows. And you saw Liverpool got the winger from our warehouse.
Yeah.
But he's done very good, right, for them.
His name
Diaz. And then Manchester City bought some players as well. So my point being is that until this first, so what does KSE think that we could do on a thin roster, right? Is Arteta gonna pull out some magic out of his ass and say, "Here you go, guys," you know, like I don't understand it, you know. So there has to be a consequence there. I don't know, you know. It's like it's just puzzling to me on why Arteta thought that we could win if we don't make top 4.
Yeah.
So we should have standards as a football club, right? So
I hear you. And like I said, I think it's everybody, Arteta, Edu, and the management in terms of why the January window went the way it did. And Edu should have had more options for sure. The team would have to spend and take risks, and that's the problem, right? We're talking here about 6th place is okay, and 4th isn't really what we were looking for. But you have an opportunity to get 4th. You take that opportunity, right? And you give yourself the best odds to get there. And the only way you could have done that was make sure you don't have depth issues. You don't have any injury concerns or sickness concerns or red cards as suspensions to deal with because you have a depleted squad. So for me, it's a matter of, like I said, for me, it's a matter of put the odds in your favor, not take them away, right? We didn't help ourselves with any of the moves coming in because we had none. And the moves going out killed our depth, right?
We shot ourselves in the foot, Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, we were hoping that we wouldn't have any injuries or any sicknesses. And
I still have a hard time with seeing the club taking that big of a gamble. I think it's more of Arteta. After spending what we did in the summer, I think we would have spent, especially with the players we're linked to. linked to a 70 million pound striker, to me, you're willing to spend the money. I think it's just like Arteta said, if he didn't see a player that he thought improved us, he want to pick him. He's kind of got his little pets scattered across Europe that he likes, that he fancies.
Yeah.
Might not be the best fits for us, but that's the players he wants. They weren't available, so
Yeah.
he decided to sell a couple, let one go out on loan, just shot herself in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, Chambers, Maitland-Niles are players that right now aren't doing much for the teams that they went to. And there are players that we've used in the past and have actually performed. We're not getting anything for them in terms of monetary value for them. So what was the reason to let them go? Right? I mean, Maitland-Niles could have played right back if you needed him to, or you could have rotated things around if you needed to, but he could play in the back line in midfield, all of that. So, my thing always is give yourself the best opportunity to win. The January window did not give us better opportunities, right? It just it made it created whatever thin margins we had already thinner. Right, we've been playing on these thin margins for a while now, and that's basically what we did.
Yeah,
We
when
just
you
made it
have
even
two
thinner.
players that can play 5 positions, it's just stupid to get rid of them. It's hard to find a utilities player like that. Yeah, they might not be the best players, but keep them until the end of the year. If Chambers didn't want to renew his contract, then he goes. A&M hasn't been used. One point we were offered $20 million for him. Arteta's like, no, you're part of our plans. Then he didn't play him. He wanted to go again this summer. Again, Arteta said you're part of our plans. Now here he is out on loan. Wasted half a season not playing him. Wasted his whole season last year. And he was one of the keys to our FA Cup run. And to me, he was the best player Arteta's first 7 games. Then, oh no, he was late to a team meeting. He told Arteta why. Had a valid reason not to be there. Then we didn't see him for 2 or 3 months. He just seems to want to punish the youth, not work with them. Now he's moved out the players. We're thinner. We didn't have any room for injuries. Now Tierney's gone. Partey's gone. And we get a red card in the midfield. We're totally screwed.
Well, it all depends on if that red card would have been with the pairing we had last weekend, as opposed to if Xhaka comes out. I mean, as much as it pains me, if Xhaka doesn't play midfield this game, were to get a red card, for example, we'd be in trouble, right? Based on the way that Arteta works. So, I don't, for me, if Xhaka does play in midfield, how confident do you feel he's going to be able to do a similar job to what he's done before? That, in terms of getting, keeping things a little quiet in there and not so, not being the Achilles heel to the way we play.
Well, he's still the Achilles heel because he's playing up further up the pitch. He's wasting a player. He's not getting red cards.
Yeah, so we're getting back to Xhaka, and we weren't supposed to go there, but we're talking about Arteta here. So we'll stick on Arteta. We'll
See,
leave Xhaka talk.
Are we going to stick on Arteta?
One
Arteta,
issue,
Gary? Pick
one issue I have with Arteta is he doesn't maximize his roster. And what I mean by that is that talk about a guy like Iniesta, right? And he rarely plays him anymore. But that's the guy we need that can put in his shifts and not get carded because he knows how to dribble the ball. He knows how to work, whole 90 minutes. But Arteta doesn't favor him either. So, it's just it blows my mind that Arteta doesn't get the best out of his roster, the 25 guys he has on there that he can use, and yet you don't wonder why as supporters we're frustrated at him because he doesn't know how to utilize them. He utilize players' strengths also. So it's just very frustrating that Arteta's this way.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're definitely right about that. I mean, Arteta, I believe, has some talented players on his pitch. I'm sorry, in his squad, and he puts them out on the pitch, and they don't look like it. They don't look anything like it. I know they're better players than what they display. I don't know what you guys think about that. And is that part Arteta, or is that the players? Because we've seen better from them. We know they can do better than what they have, and they don't look like it. So is it Arteta over coaching this thing and basically hurting them? Not thinking he is, thinking, giving them too much to do. This game's not that difficult.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to shoehorn the players in wrong positions. Just play the players, trust Tavage, go out there and trust Zombie. Instead, he doesn't. Puts Naka back there as left back. And then it kind of screws everybody over. Then again, he didn't play the young players, so you have the players that haven't played, like Tavage. Then he comes in, communication between him and Gabriel was poor. It's not his fault he hasn't been playing. Should have been playing him a cup games, but instead he didn't. And he comes out and looks bad again. Yanks him again, so the player's confidence is probably at the bottom as it can get right now, bottom of the barrel. Now if you put him back out there, which it looks like he's been doing in training this week, how much confidence is a player to have? Is he going to be nervous, afraid of making mistakes? Is he going to be out there listening to his teammates, or is he going to be thinking in his head that he can be yanked at any minute and not really be paying attention to what's going on the field?
What do you guys think? I mean, Arteta, in terms of, I guess the man management, in terms of getting his players to keep some semblance of form. Is there? I guess Stan, I'll let you go. But as far as, like, for me, you need to be able to keep all your players informed to some degree, so that when they come on, it's not like the first time in months. In fairness to some of these players, we haven't played a cup game since January, so they weren't going to get any cup games for the last almost 3 months now. So that's partly on the team, right? But he still needs to find a way to keep these guys fresh. So Stan, I'll let you go.
I do feel that people want results these days so much quicker. I'm just, while you were talking, I was just looking on the net, and I think we can all agree that probably the most successful manager that we've had in the most recent years, not at Arsenal in all told, is Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, Sir Alex Ferguson, when he joined Manchester United, he joined when it was the old First Division before the Premier League, and in his first season he joined, it was like the 1986-87 season. Man United finished 11th. In their next season, they finished 2nd. So you think, wow, that is a vast improvement. We're off to the races. The season after that, they finished 11th again. So if that was Arsenal, they'd be going, get this guy out. He got us up to 2nd, and now he slipped us down to 11th. The year after that, 13th. So it's even more of a decline. And then 6th, and then 2nd, and then they won the league. So there's a lot of time there for him to that he was given. I can imagine that during that journey, there must have been a lot of pelters against him, and get this guy out, going from 11th, getting up to 2nd, going to 11th, going down to 13th. But they stuck with him. And I do think that people these days, I don't know if it's because of social media, and we've got so much more information at our fingertips. I mean, I always go back to the story of when we signed Dennis Bergkamp. The day I found out was when it was in the back of the newspaper while I was on holiday reading the newspaper in the gift shop. There was no rumours. There was no chatter about it. I just think that we need to give managers time. Is he coming to the end of his 3rd season or 2nd and a half season? Is that enough time? I mean, if we don't get into Europe, I do believe in targets, and I'm torn again. It's like if we make minimum of 6th, I'll keep him because that's the goal that I set out personally that I think that we should be able to achieve.
Well, what should have been the goal, Stan?
But if we
With
finish
no
7th,
European
though,
football.
but if we finish 7th and we miss out by a few points or whatever, then he hasn't reached his goals. But then I'd be asking myself, well, do I really want us now to bring in another guy? Who's that going to be? Who would it be? I don't know. Does that guy come in? The money that's been sent thus far, is he going to like everybody that's been brought in? Or are we going to still be in a constant flux of being in a rebuild? Still being in a rebuild, and players like maybe Gabriel does leave. He doesn't like that guy. Doesn't like Tierney. Doesn't think Martinelli. I don't know. He could get rid of certain players and then we're rebuilding again. I just think that even if we don't get in Europe this season, I'd be inclined to give him at least maybe another season. And it's hard to hear the words coming out of my mouth because I'm very target driven. You get targets at work. You work in sales and you got to get X amount of sales and you don't hit them in 3 months, you're out the door. Yeah. But there's so much at stake. There's so many little pieces with being a football manager. I don't want to see us turning into a revolving door like Man United. I mean, I'm sure that if Man United could go back in time now in a time machine, they would have given David Moyes a little bit more time instead of being so reactionary.
But would you give Arteta half a season or the whole full season, Stan? Since that would be 3 years, a half a season. If we're round 7th or 8th place.
It depends, doesn't it? You know, you're sort of like 3 months into the season and you're languishing and sort of like, I don't know, below mid-table. And the manager can't get a tune out of the players. You have to make a decision. But these are his players now. And apparently in the summer, he's going to be able to put the cherry on the top and bring in a striker and maybe, you know, another midfielder and a couple of others.
Yeah, I got a couple of things to say once you're done. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just the last part, Gary. My worry is that, however, if we don't reach the goals of Europe and we've got money to spend, because we're going to have money to spend this summer, then we'll only be able to attract mediocre players. And then that hinders you getting closer to your goals because you ain't got the players to get you there. So much, I think, hinges on getting into Europe this summer because we know there's money to spend.
I hear you. Tony or Lonzo, you guys have anything else to comment on towards what?
Yeah, I think that with Stan, I agree with you because we've seen like clubs like Chelsea and Manchester United do the same thing where if you don't get instant results, then they're gone. So they don't have time to build up their legacy as a manager of Arsenal or Chelsea or Manchester United. So there's no legacy there, and but also we've been patient with Arteta because he came from Man City and he wanted this job, so we see him trying to do the same thing that Pep does as far as man management. And maybe some current players on the team don't like it, but maybe they do because they re-signed and whatnot. But that's just a tough situation because everybody has to be on board, right? With the ownership, the Adu, Arteta, they have to somehow kind of have a plan, but we saw glimpses of that this past summer, which Arteta had the funds to spend on Ben White, Ramsdale, Lukonga, Tavares. So the signs were there, Odegaard, and so the signs were there to want to excel and be ambitious. But what bothers me is that we didn't spend any money in the transfer window, just January window. So, there's a lot of things that they worked out for Arteta to be successful. And one of those things that is to convince players that aren't as popular or as known to buy into the system that Arteta is trying to build at Arsenal. And it's tough. But hopefully this is a mistake that they have to learn is that not every big name players want to come to Arsenal. Maybe have your options set so you don't have to make the same mistakes over and over again.
I hear you.
What annoys me is in the summer we've got like 70 odd million that we're going to spend on a package for Dusan Vlahovic. We spend all that time, trying to court him, and whatever it's going to be financially for his, services to pay him. If that doesn't come up, what is the harm in saying, okay, let's go to Benfica, let's talk about Darwin Núñez. Okay, we can't get him in January, but let's do the deal now. So that it's done. It's we do the deal now, and he comes in the summer. Liverpool done that with a couple of players, I believe, over the last few seasons, where the player didn't come in for about a year. I can't remember which one it was, but they got the deal done. They knew that was their player. Why couldn't
there was one that was like 18 months.
Yeah. Why couldn't we have shown that kind of an intent? Because now, what's happened since that time when now Darwin Núñez is, I was going to say, Darwin Núñez has become popular. Do you know what I mean? The cat's out the bag now, and he's only gone on to have some even better performances. And now there are other clubs sniffing around, which may have more to offer him prestige-wise than we will, especially if they get banged on for a Champions League thing. Yeah, Thunder Road, Naby and Nketiah. Why can't we do deals like that? All right, we didn't get Vlahovic, but we know we've got the dough. Let's put the deal down now, and it's all signed, done, and delivered. And I just think that we miss out, Arsenal. They don't do these kind of transfers. They don't think ahead sometimes enough like that.
Yeah, I got a couple of things based on what has been said, and I guess some of that, Stan, you might have some comments on. I mean, for me, the Fergie and the way that his career started with Man United, I think those times are gone. And you are right. We are probably more of a microwave, kind of thought process now that we just put it in and we get our results quickly. And if you look at what is happening with a lot of the teams and a lot of these big teams that you talk about, and with they bring in these big managers, they see results in two to 3 years, right? Anytime somebody brings up Liverpool in 2 to 3 years, where were they? Pep, same thing, 2 to 3 years, right? And that's what you get. And that's, Arsenal should be able to go out there and get the same results because we keep saying they're a big club. If they can't, then something's not right. You brought the wrong ingredients to this structure. And that's the other part to this. Arsenal's structure shouldn't be that, if Arteta were to leave tomorrow, the players that we have aren't going to work. I mean, the structure has to be sound that just because the manager's gone doesn't mean all bets are off. This isn't going to work again, right? That can't be the way. I mean, one piece of the pie can't be the only thing that keeps this thing afloat, right? Tierney, Partey out, or sorry, for me, I think it's more Partey out. We're done. That can't be, right? You can't do that. You can't have a weak link, and we have a weak link. The weak link is, for me right now, is Arteta, because he's not going to get us there with the players that he has. He needs specific things. He needs top of the line stuff. And we're not doing that. We're not going to give him that, right? He needed 10 players last summer, right? He got 6. So for me, he needed another 4 to complete it. And we're going into another window where we're probably still 10 players from where we want to be. You bring in a more seasoned veteran coach, he'll get more out of the players. He will overachieve. And that's what I think you want, right? I think that's what you want. I mean, that's my thing there. And that's kind of where I think, you have a structure in your club. It doesn't matter just that you just remove one piece. You have backups. That's what we keep talking about, right? If anybody gets hurt in Liverpool or City, they have somebody to come in and replace them, right? They have backups. They keep their odds in their favor no matter what happens, right? We don't have that one. I mean, I understand with depth we don't have it, but the structure has to be sound that it will work no matter who you bring in. Because did City and Liverpool have to make significant changes when they brought in their management? They didn't, right? When Pep and Klopp came in, they didn't have to because they had what I believe is a sound structure to the way that they do their football business. Arsenal needs that as well, right? So I think any talk of like, well, if Arteta were to leave, I think we still should be able to stand on our feet and be able to get something out of our game because we're Arsenal. And you have to be able to do that in this day and age if you're trying to mimic the way that other teams do it. So that's my thoughts on those things. I kind of think the way that football is run now, you're not getting time. There's a lot of money involved. So if that's the case, then they need to show something for it, right? We just spent how much? 150, most of it on our defense. Our defense got worse as far as the stats are concerned. Is that a bad thing? Like, I don't mind if the stats show that we're worse defensively, but something's got to be better. We're not scoring either. So, like, we're like, on both sides of this spectrum, we're bad, we're poor. And
Yeah, our defense isn't any better than our
I think
midfield
that
still sucks.
if
And our
you have
strike force sucks.
somebody else who's out as well, so we've had injuries to important places that kind of hurt our team. So I think prior to Tomiyasu getting hurt, they had a pretty good record, and it just kind of sucks that he's been hurt for a long time. And
well, we had Maitland-Niles that could have filled in that role.
Right, but we don't have that, Tony. I mean, Tomiyasu did a good job before he got hurt. So, and Tony's now hurt as well. So, what do you put, two and two together? So,
but I think with the Tomiyasu injury, that I think Cedric's actually come in and held the fort there. I'm of the opinion, and it's changed on Cedric. I was one that I didn't even get why we gave him the deal that we did when he initially came in. But I think
then we never seen him, and he got 4 more years. That was even worse.
Yeah, he didn't get 4 more years. Come on, Tony.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't give him 4 more. He hasn't been here. He's not going to be here for 8 years when it's all said and done.
Yeah, 4 years initially, right? 4 years initially.
We signed him on loan, then we went and
and then we gave him 4 years.
Then we gave him 4. It wasn't an extra 4. I thought you said extra. So.
But yeah. I'm of the opinion that he continues the way he is. He seems like an adequate backup. Mm-hmm. As a backup, he seems like he can do a job in that position. So that's one place that we don't have to look now. So times can change, right? This is a player that I was like, I didn't see it for quite some time. Thought it was a disaster. I couldn't understand why we gave him 4 years. But of recent times, he's been doing very well, I think.
Yeah, on that back line, he was for me the best player. So. On that back line. Go ahead, Lonzo.
Sorry. So that's interesting. It's interesting that you bring it up, Stan, because this is a case that a player that was on a bench, rarely used before Tomiyasu got hurt. Over time, he got better, right? This is what we need from guys like Pepe and Nketiah. More time can give them more confidence to do something. And that's what I think, Arsenal or Arteta has showed that. Where Tavares hasn't had that time to play, so that's why he's struggling. So yeah.
I mean, Tavares has had something like 31 top-level games of football in his whole career, and 24 of those was in the Portuguese league at Benfica. So in his trajectory, it is early days for him. But I mean, when he got hooked at half-time at Crystal Palace, for me, he wasn't like that one bad player and everybody else was doing really well. There's lots of other players that could have been substituted, I think. But the fact that he wasn't picked again for the following game after Mikel Arteta had said it was purely tactical tells me that for whatever reason, whether it's what he saw in the game or maybe he doesn't train well as well, because all this training stuff that you hear about, he seems to not trust Tavares. And Tavares wasn't a player that he inherited. He was one that was scouted by him and his people, and they agreed to spend, 8 million euros on him. Mm-hmm. So I don't get that. I don't get that myself. What's happening there?
And you know what? This is also, I've said this multiple times when Arteta is out there screaming at the players. He doesn't trust what he just did in practice. Guess what? Tavares getting pulled the way he has the last 2 games and not playing in the previous one. Once again, he doesn't trust what I would have to believe that they spent some cycles, some hours thinking about what we need to bring in to back up
KT.
Tierney, right? So they must have spent, and they must have known that, you know what, the drop off can't be that big, or the potential has to be that good, right? One of the two. Either it's sound, you don't have to worry about it, or guess what, this is going to be a player who's got some potential, and he'll be close to Tierney. Give him a year or two. Now, so all that work that they did to figure out that Tavares was the guy, and you've seen it. You look at his YouTube, it looks good, right? He's only going to show you the good stuff, but he's got some good qualities about him. He's still young, so he's going to make mistakes, but we got that all over. We have that all over. Gabriel's going to make mistakes. Ramsdale is going to make mistakes. We claim that as their youth, right? So they're going to give us bad days and good days, but we keep putting them out there. Tavares, same thing, right? He doesn't trust the analysis that he spent all that time before he put that contract in front of Tavares. That's what I mean by the structure just isn't right. Because if you're doing it, it means you just wasted all that time if he can't play now.
If you're not good enough to play at home against Brighton, and now look at the other fixtures that are coming up, the last 8 fixtures, he may as well get his CV in order. If he can't play at home to Brighton and can't get selected for that, there's a problem for me. Where else is he going to play?
Yeah, and like I said, for me, I think it's a he doesn't trust himself, even though he went and did all the due diligence, right? If you're a coach and you spend what we spent about 4 or 5 days working, coming into that Brighton game, right? You got 4 or 5 days of solid practice, right, to come into it. We know what they're going to do. Guess what? They're not that good. They scored 1 goal in 7 games. Our team should come out there ready to go, because guess what? This team can't score. They looked like they had just won. They had just won 6-0 the previous game, right? The way they played. Sorry. How is that? That's for me. It's part mental. There's no way a good structured, coached, managed team comes out in that game thinking, guess what? We might have to struggle today. This might be a struggle. Nah, it can't be. No. This team we're playing this week, and maybe we'll start to transition to that, they just gave up 6 goals at home. Doesn't matter who, but they just gave up 6. Guess what? There are opportunities for us to get 6 goals in this game. And that has to, for me, got to be a mindset. You guys want to continue on this?
Yeah, one quick point there as well. What disappoints me, because we're going back to, we're talking about that selection in the Brighton game. What disappoints me, of all of the hesitancy he put into not playing Tavares there, it was also equally disappointing that he decided to put Sambi in the midfield and put him next to someone like Martin Odegaard, which is not going to be his best position. For me, that was a bit of an overburden, and he hadn't learned anything there, because he did that when he played Sambi in the midfield next to an even more inexperienced Patino. And we saw how that turned out. That was totally, wasn't the way to go. And he's done it again. Obviously, the best call would have been to have gone back to a double pivot, still with a back 4. Xhaka's in there next to Sambi. He can also keep an eye on Tavares to his left. Martinelli ahead of Tavares. So he's got people around him to keep an eye. Instead of just leaving them, basically, I feel sorry for Sambi. He'd done the best that he could. But again, that's not a good way to ease him in, when there's so much at stake as well for our season.
Like I said, I think we not only weakened our midfield, but then we weakened our back line, which was already a little iffy as it was. It didn't, it didn't need that. So, you guys have anything else to say about? Talked a little bit about Arteta there. Let's see. Want to move into? We move into the next game, but also, did I have something else? I think we'll get into the next game. And this is a question I ask. What are your? They just lost 6-0. I'm telling you, they just lost 6-0. I don't care. I know, understand who it's to, but it doesn't really matter,
They
right?
lost 9 recently and all, didn't they? Was that the one where he was crying? Did they? There wasn't they? Didn't they lose by quite recently, like a season ago? They got 2 games where they got absolutely battered. Was it one of them 9 or was it 6? I can't remember. Do you
Seems like
remember?
his
And
9 last year.
and the manager was crying. It was once he cried because they beat somebody, and they didn't think they were going to beat, and then the other one he cried when they got absolutely battered. If I remember rightly.
Yeah. And Arteta lost to this team when he shouldn't have, right? So let's see what we got here. Is he coming in or not? I don't know. Okay.
What's that?
Alonso left us and now he's coming back. So welcome back to the show, Alonso. But yeah, so Southampton. Stan, I think you got a little bit of a say. I'll let Tony, anything you want to say as we go through this? I do have a question for you guys later, but Southampton.
It should be a straight 3 points. It should be an easy 3, 4, 5-0 game. I would prefer 4-0 so we can go see Arsenal Luchador. He hasn't made an appearance this season. It's due for him to come out. This is a surefire game that we should get 4, but we probably won't.
See, I'm not sure, Tone. I'm not sure, Tone. They seem to blow Southampton a little bit like remind me of Leicester. They're a team that blow hot and cold. They're a team that go out and get points sometimes against teams where you think that they're not going to get it. And then they have other games where they should be able to get something out of the game and they get humped. I just think they blow very hot and cold. So they're always a team for me that, especially when you play them at home, I don't just go in there thinking, 3 points, because there's something about Southampton that is unpredictable, especially at home.
Yeah, the game you were talking about was last February. Man United beat them 9-0.
Was that home or away?
At Old Trafford.
Okay.
Yeah. Alonso, anything you got to say on your initial thoughts on the Southampton game?
Yeah, I think Arsenal have kind of lost confidence, but Southampton's a weaker team, so anything can happen with our squad. It's kind of like I haven't lost faith yet, but we need a win. We're gonna have to get these wins because our rivals, basically, Rose have been playing pretty good, and so they just gotta have a plan and stick with it. Obviously, Arteta has a hard time with that, so it's a work in progress again. So yeah, I think that we have to be confident going into Southampton or is it Emirates?
Oh.
I mean,
All right.
the last 2 games, right? There's 6 points on the table. I thought, looking ahead before those last 2 games, I thought 4 points maybe. A win and a draw. We didn't get none, 0. So it you look at the Southampton game, and I have to err with caution. Do you know what I mean? Because saying so, we always say, well, on paper, we don't play on paper. That's the thing. I mean, I don't go out and play on a bit of paper. And I don't know. I really thought 4 points out of the last 6 was off of the back of how we've been playing was achievable.
I know all of us on the panel said 4 would be worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah.
And we got fucking 0.
Didn't get any. And I think again, it's where we have this thing where we don't have that bread and butter guy in the team, the bread and butter striker, where we might have a really bad game and the striker will pop up and still tuck one away and we'll scrape through because we have a goal scorer. We don't have that. And so when Saka and the other winger, whoever that may be, and Odegaard maybe have an off day, it's compounded because you're looking around at the striker and you're thinking, well, there's nothing going to happen there anyway.
And you know what? This right here is probably when we talk about the bounce back. This is probably right there. This is, we're looking at this player, right? Borja, right? If he, I had a statement there. I'm going to change it now because we'll just I'll change this up a little bit and then you guys will help me answer this question. So let me just save this here. All right. So
Is
Not only-
Broja the one's on loan from? He's on loan from Chelsea.
Yeah, and that's
right,
why he didn't play. He didn't play last week. So put two together there. But that is I have two questions. They're both, you can see if you look at the bottom there on the banner. Basically, how will Arteta lose against Southampton now? They just gave up 6, and we like to give presents away, right? And their striker had to sit and watch probably what just happened. He's going to be itching to come in and play.
He's in the shop window, isn't he? For either a starting place at Chelsea or a sale to a better team. He must be loving it, Broja.
All right, so we'll start with Lonzo. So how can Arteta lose against Southampton? Because we know there's ways to win it, but how can he lose it?
He loses it by starting Pepe, by starting El Nene, starting the Conga, and starting Tavares, because they haven't got the experience then to play a full 90 minutes. So they'll somehow mess up, and then Arteta benches them for the next 2 days or whomever else, and brings some youngster in to fill those positions, and Lacazette doesn't score. And
Who do you play at left back then?
Tavares.
I thought you said
If he messes up, then he'll bring Martinelli in or Xhaka to play left back, because that's what he does. So he'll mess it up, and then Holding will come on as a sub because he thinks he'll shore it up, and then a goal will come in at the last minute, and then boom, Southampton win. I mean, it's that simple, right? I mean, that's how much Arteta way you could lose a game.
Yeah, so bringing in on players that not in form, definitely. We've seen what that does. So Tony, here we go. Posing the same question to you. Arteta comes in, has an anti-masterclass. What did he do?
let's see, put Xhaka as left back, put Eddie in the middle.
Did you say Xhaka or Saka at left back there?
Xhaka. I would be happy with Saka because Martinelli made no sense at left back when you had Saka. To sacrifice one of the attackers, might as well be Saka that knows the position. But Martinelli back there made no sense to me at all.
Cool.
But I think you can find more ways that he'll screw it up than he can win it because he just doesn't trust his players, puts players that he does trust in the wrong positions. It makes it more difficult for everybody. That's why our defenses gave up 5 goals in the last 2 games.
Cool. All right. And Stan.
I think how I would actually set them up would be to go with 4 at the back. I would put Cedric in at left back. I would have Ben White at right back, and I would move.
Is this the win, or is this going to result in a win or a loss?
No, well, this you'll see, right? I'd put them up. I'd set them up that way, and I'd have a double pivot with El Neni and Xhaka. But on the bench, I'd have Tavares and Lokonga. And if everything goes your way, and you're winning, now is the time, because we've still got 7 games after this one. Now is the time to then bring in Tavares to see out the game, and then bring in Sambi Lokonga while they're not coming in anxious while they're not coming in and everyone's playing like shit and they're like, what are we supposed to do? They come in and ride the game out. That's what I would do. How he's going to set us up to lose is if he goes and does exactly what he did in the last game. And we don't have any engine in the midfield, because even though I want to upgrade on Granit Xhaka, I'm not stubborn enough to just sit here and say, well, if Partey's out, we can do without Xhaka in the midfield. He is the next best option. He is, So I don't understand why we're going to handicap ourselves just to plug a hole at left back. Meanwhile, in the boat, there's other holes springing up. That's what it feels like. A hole sprung up. We've plugged that, But there's other whole. I mean, we're like, well, we've run out of like things to put in. We're okay. You know, we used all the wood on this one to bung this one up. That's what he's done there, and that's
Looks
how
like we took
how
a
he
wood
loses.
from another place on the boat and put it there. Made the hole where we took the wood from.
True. So, Stan, anything else you got?
And,
I mean,
and maybe as well, how he loses. He asks, how does he lose? Is
Yep.
maybe he continues with Lacazette playing up front. You know, that could be another hill that he dies on. We can't do much worse at the minute.
true. And I know you kind of jumped the gun there with your alignment, but anything else on top of it? We're trying to win it. We have to get 3 points. How are we winning it? I know you gave us the back line, but how we win? We need to score. We have to score. How are we going to do it? You know.
Okay, so yeah, I set up the back line with because I want to somehow bring Lokonga and Tavares. I want them to feel part of things, but I don't want to start them. Don't want them to play cold. Don't want them to be hindered without the right guy next to them. So I want to be bringing them in when we're riding 2-0 up or something like that. The other option is it's important that we keep Martin Odegaard playing in that favoured position because he pulls all of the strings. He helps dictate the actual tempo of the game, which I felt that we lost in the previous game. But I'm at the stage now where I think that I was cautious about changing Lacazette just because I was worried that what else is there? But anything else might be better than what currently is. You know, okay, I'm not going to bring up my nan. We all know the story. But we're at that stage where we're like, fuck it, Martinelli, ESR, I'm open. Pepe, I really am open because it cannot be worse than what I'm seeing right now from Lacazette. He's not even doing the basics like running to near post or anything. He's totally checked out.
Cool. And yeah, you're definitely right. Something needs to change up top, or
I don't think he's checked out. I
or
just think
wherever
it's
Arteta or
teams have
Lacazette
figured
plays.
out how to crowd him out, like Vieira said.
Yeah.
That was their goal, to crowd out Lacazette.
Yeah.
Not give him time.
Well, let's not give up our secrets on how we're going to lose. We're trying to win this thing, Tony. So how are we going to win this thing?
Go out, play attacking football, put the players in the positions they know how to play. Trust the players. You should easily get 3 points. But it's Arteta, and he doesn't do logical things.
Yeah, you're giving him a lot of rope. You know, I guess what happens? You give somebody too much rope. So, Alonzo, tell me, you got a plan for Arteta to win this thing?
I do. I think, I want to go with Stan said earlier about having Ben White play at right back and having Holden there. I think that it's important to have a captain type of player at the back line. Because we've seen Gabriel not mess up, but not play great lately. And I think it's important to have someone who can do to tell him to settle down when things are tough. But I would prefer a Nene play over Zombie. I like with him in double pivot with Xhaka. I would like to see Tavares redeem himself and have Cedric come in at gosh. That's tough. Sorry, Gary. I meant to say I like to see Cedric play at left back. And I like to see double pivot with Nene and Xhaka at Odegaard number 10. Have Saka play on the right, and then have or left, and then have Pepe come on the right, and have Nketiah start, and bring on Martinelli and Messi off the bench, and maybe see Martinelli play center forward. But yeah, sorry. If things don't work out, then just sub in Nketiah at the 60-minute spot. But I think it'd be really telling after their first 20 minutes to see how Arsenal can pan out.
That is true. We need to start fast, and we are definitely at dire straits if Nketiah is looking like a viable option. All right, that's where we are right now, and that's pretty pretty poor of a state that we're in right now. So Thunder Row had a comment here, and I just had to look it up. Livramento. I mean, there were 3 goals scored from that side of the pitch. So against last week, so he might be a concern maybe going forward. But we can if Tavares is out going up against him, maybe we get something out of that as well. So maybe it's a high scoring match, but we still win it if that's the concern. But I kind of feel like they gave up 6. If they hold us to 3, I think we win. All right. So I'll take that. Thank you for playing along with how we win and how we lose. I think we've seen so much of how we lose that it's just, you can write a book, how not to win a game. And I don't know about you guys feel about this comment here. Like, we're reaching at straws here, right? We have a striker.
He's
plays in
basically
midfield
playing that
anyway.
deep anyway. Might as well do it.
We've actually seen him go all the way to the back line and support them too. So he can do it all based on what he's been asked to do. Stan, I see you kind of nibbling
Stan
there
said he
already.
can perfect the false 6.
He's already sort of playing almost in that position anyway. It's just a calamity at the moment. Because there are times when I just feel that we're playing with 10 players. If it happens to combine with a game where Xhaka has a brain fart and cost us, then we're playing with 9 players sometimes. So I actually think that we've done pretty well to get where we are, considering how we're really hampered in a couple of key areas that are really important areas.
Definitely. I mean, part of it is we've been lucky that the teams we played haven't been good when we played them. Part of it has been the teams around us haven't been good. And hopefully, that team, I don't like to say their name, they have a couple of meltdowns as they see this season out, and then we get a win against them in the North London derby. So that's where we are. I think
it's strange, right? Can I just say it's strange because usually under Pochettino, a Spurs team is usually running out of steam about now. That's always been their problem. They say that, I think the rumor is from them lot that they get overtrained and they get to this part of the season and they're running out of steam. It looks the other way around now. I thought they were running out of steam and they've managed to string together some pretty impressive performances, dare I say it, just at the wrong time for us.
And they're being helped by one player that came out that we refused to sign this last summer.
Who?
I can't think of how to say his name. Kulusevski.
Who's that?
The winger.
Dusan, the guy they brought in? Dusan, right?
No, they got a winger.
Yeah.
Bentancur.
No, Dusan. That's his first name is Dusan.
Okay.
I don't know how to say his last name. Like you said, it's got a lot of Kulusevski. Isn't that Dusan?
Kulusevski.
Yeah, his first name is Dusan.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to check it out right now, but I believe his first name is come on. Yeah. Oh, Dejan. Sorry.
Oh, Dejan. Okay, yeah.
Dejan. Sorry. I like to say Dusan because it starts with a D, ends in an N. It's gotta be sounds the same, right? So
You just like saying deuce.
So does the word dustbin.
You know how many times I said Dusan and people haven't corrected me, so I guess they just let me go with it. But yeah, Dijon. I guess I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's almost like Dijon, but with an E. So there you go.
Gary playing the role of a Swedish chef again.
There we go. Yeah, no, he's been really good, and
Tadic.
All I have to say is a lot of teams that brought in players in January window, they all seem to be giving them something, and teams around us that we don't want to be doing that have been, so that's been a little concerning that, you might have to spend more, but maybe you get something out of them. So there you go. And Dejan looks like he might be a plus for them going forward if he continues. Dusan Tadic. I don't know who that is.
Tadic, yeah, Tadic.
Yeah, Tadic. Okay, that's the other Dusan, I guess. Yeah, this is me with not being able to say names. Swedish winger with a Polish name. Ay, ay, ay. There you go. All right. So, anything else for this game before we wrap up here? On at least talking about the next game. All right, here we go. We'll give it a. What is going on here?
That's the bitches. Tony's bitches are calling him. It's that time of the evening again, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Tony, what are you up to tonight? Can we come round? But it's like a jack in the box with this team at the moment because I have no idea we're going to set up. We could even see three at the back. Do you know what I mean? We could see three. It could be a three at the back. Nuno Tavares could come back. It might stick exactly with what we could look at the team line up, and it could be exactly the same as what we saw with Brighton. So I know at some point we're going to talk about predictions and that. I just find it so difficult because I'm not sure what we're putting out. Do you know what I mean? Is he going to stick with Lacazette? Is he going to try something else? Either way, it's a gamble. Try something else, and that goes wrong. It's so difficult to call anything with this team at the moment. I don't remember a time like it, but it's been like that.
Stan, I have a question.
Go on.
Have you tapped my phone line?
No, why?
Because you're dead on.
Because what?
Because you're dead on.
Oh, was it you? Okay. All right.
It was my neighbor calling me.
Booty call.
No, not booty call.
Don't let her husband find out, Tony.
It's the opposite.
It's not like you're going to be able to have it away on your toes if he catches you.
All right, so you know what? We're at that point in the show. I guess we will start with. Let's start with an easy one. So we get to the predictions. We'll start with it. I know Ray likes to end with it. We'll start with it and get it out of the way. So here we go. Lonzo, you ready to go? We'll start.
Yeah.
We'll go backwards here. So
Ray says, "Fuck what Ray does."
Arsenal's traveling to Southampton. What's your prediction?
Well, it is Holy Week, so they're going to St. Mary's. So I'm going to say 2-0.
Cool. All right, Tony.
I think I'll give us a tougher game than they should. I've said it a couple times. 2-1 Arsenal. Should be 3-4. I want to see 4-0. I want to see Arsenal Luchador.
That'd be nice. Nice. All right, and Stan.
Stan, do you know if he's available or not?
I think it's going to be a draw. You know, I do.
Oh.
And I never, like when we do our upset picks, and just in case the viewers know, basically we look at the table and we pick what we think will be the upset, and then we get the points in between the two teams, right? Or half of it's a draw. And I never pick whoever we're playing. It's always somebody else. But, if I'm going to go with my head over my heart for once, this might be my upset pick.
I did it for Crystal Palace. I picked Crystal Palace.
I worry about our goal output. And if people have off days, that there's no one that steps up to squeeze one in. And as you say, they're coming off the back of a bit of a drubbing. When I came off the back of that Man U drubbing, I'm sure they bounced back. They came back and had a high-scoring game within a couple of games or so. So I feel I'm being kind at saying it's going to be a draw because I think that we might lose this one. I know.
You're trying to make me cry here.
Want to shock me?
And I know, and that's the scary part is we are at that point where we could do that and we won't have an answer. Like, say we come out and we get destroyed in the first half. There's nothing about our bench that says, guess what? We probably can't answer. We have an answer for that. No matter what we do, no matter if we leave players on the bench, no matter if we say, you know what, we're going to come out ready to go. There's just nothing about the way the team is structured right now that allows us to get. I think they're going to hold us to 3 goals. 3-2 nail biter. That's what I think. I mean, we.
And even
I
though
would
we
go-
lose 3-2, one of the goals would be
I
an
didn't
El
say
Nini
that.
screamer
I didn't
from
say that.
outside the box. It'll be a screamer
Yeah.
goal, but we'll still lose.
I never said that.
I thought you said with 3-2.
I
that
said,
we would
yeah, we're
lose.
gonna score 3-2. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I said they're gonna hold us to 3.
Right. Okay.
So you go along those same lines as to what would be an upset bet. We got that team playing at home to Brighton, who we just played Brighton. Brighton is a really good squad. Did you see how they played last week? They looked really good. So Stan, tell me, Brighton playing at the lot over there, that team.
And it's at Tottenham. I think that Tottenham will do them, and that will cause a further meltdown on social media when people see that.
Yeah, I think Twitter just put in some new servers just in case, because like you said, things will go batty crazy if they went out. We struggled, and think about it. That's the first game on the weekend. If they come out and just 3-0, and we struggle in the first 45 minutes, Twitter will blow up. Forget it.
You know what's gonna happen? That's gonna be when Elon Musk takes control of Twitter finally.
So tell me, Tony, how's that team going to do against Brighton, who just put 2 on us?
I think they're doing too good. They're gonna win.
Ugh, yuck! I'm not giving.
I wish they'd slip up, but I don't think they're gonna slip up.
I hear you. I'm not giving a prediction because I can't ever go for that team. So Alonzo, tell me.
You can't even say anything.
Graham Potter's
besides that
gonna
team.
go ahead, Tony. Yes, you hit the mic now.
No, go ahead, Alonzo.
Okay,
Okay.
so Graham Potter is a very smart manager, and sometimes I wish he was at Arsenal. So he knows when to give a good talking to his club, like a prep talk. So for some reason, I think that we're really surprised. I think Brighton will do us a favor. And Tottenham have been known to crumble. So maybe that's just this is that game that we need them to slip up, and Brighton will do us a favor. And I think it'll be 2-1 to the Seagulls.
Yeah, well, both teams are coming in after a win, so it just happens that team's coming off of 4 wins in a row. So we'll see. So the Crystal Palace Everton game was canceled. So as Crystal Palace is, I guess they're playing the FA Cup this weekend. So see how they do. Vieira gets his guys. So next up, I guess
Vieira can get us 20th straight FA Cup win.
There you go. Here's another upset pick for those that are really crazy. United playing home to Man United. Sorry, I can't say United, right? It's Man United playing home to Norwich City. So, Lonzo, tell me.
Norwich are in a relegation battle. So they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. However, Manchester United are a bit talented team than they are. Worst case scenario for us, Arsenal fans, the best case scenario rather, will be a draw, a 1-1 draw.
Okay, cool. And Tony, United home to Norwich.
Not surprise me to see it as a draw, but United should have enough to win.
All right. And Stan, you think with the impending, I guess it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I guess it's on the way, Ten Hag is going to be going to United. Will that kind of give this team a little bit of a boost mentally because they want to play up for their manager who may be watching, their future manager?
I mean, I actually think that Man United are in a worse state than us as a club at the moment with what they have. We keep talking about teams on paper. If you look at what they have, the tools at their disposal, the players, they're really underachieving. I mean, they're talking about a new contract which will make him the most highest player in the league. I mean, are they crazy? I don't understand what Paul Pogba has done. He's like their Xhaka. So they seem to think that they can't do without him. I mean, it just hasn't really worked out for him there. People say that he's played in the wrong position, but he's been played in a variety of positions since he's been there, and he just never seems to be able to be that leader that they thought he was going to be.
He's their kryptonite.
I mean, if they lose to Norwich at home, surely it's crisis talks, but they're already selecting a new manager. So, you know, they're in a situation that if you know a new manager's coming in and you've kind of written off the season and there's players that are thinking that they're leaving, is everybody playing to their best ability? I don't know.
They're not afraid of not being in Europe at all.
I mean, surely they're not going to get turned over by Norwich. I mean, you know, I'd like to think that United are going to win that one just on a footballing sense. So I'd go for the United win. But
well, just think about it. Between the two of them, there's 2 wins in the last 5 matches between the two of them, and the last one was Norwich.
Yeah,
I mean that's what we're talking about. So it's 2 teams basically not trending downwards. Just they are down. They are down. I would like to see a Norwich kind of win. That would be really fun. I need to put smiles on my face.
Great.
I want to put smiles on my face, and that's So next up for you, Stan, we're going to continue. We're just going to go zig back and forth. So next up for you, we've got who is it? We got Watford home to Brentford.
Brentford getting a bit of an upturn at the minute. Looks like to me, and I think Brentford will win that one. Cool. Just a quick question, guys. I keep seeing a lot of people online when it comes to Brentford. A lot of people seem to like Ivan Toney as a suggestion for Arsenal. I just wondered if any of you guys had thoughts on Ivan Toney.
Well,
can I just say one thing before you say? I always thought that maybe he didn't score enough goals, but I found out today that isn't he joint top scorer with 13 goals in the league at the moment with Harry Kane and maybe somebody else. Which I didn't think he'd scored as many as that, but I just wondered if any of you guys have, and in the chat box as well, have any thoughts on whether Ivan Toney could be a main striker for Arsenal, or we're going to buy. If you're looking at buying 3 strikers, could he be one of them?
He'd be with number 2.
I think so, because I give him a shout. I think that he's more than capable of doing a job. I think Stanley talked about someone that has won and has been successful. I think that he has been successful. It was a championship, but he helped get Brentford promoted. He's been looked at as an option, I'm sure. And he's been scoring goals at championship as well. So, I think he deserves a shot to be looked at as rumored to be an Arsenal player. I think he deserves it.
He's up to 12 goals, Stan. 12 what it's up to.
12.
Yeah, but he's tied with Ronaldo and Kane.
So I think it's
not bad people to be around, I suppose.
No.
I think the talent's there. I mean, I think that he wouldn't mind a move to Arsenal. I think that he's still very young. So yeah, I think that he also plays on a chip on his shoulder. So, I would like to see him in an Arsenal shirt. I think. Does it say how
many of those goals are from open play? Because I know a lot of people say he only scores pens, but can we dispel a myth? Does it say whether they're open play or what?
Yeah, I can bring that up.
So we had the same with Pepe, right? When Pepe came over, had a big goal tally, but a lot of people are like, well, a lot of those are pens.
Yeah, I don't. Let's see.
I like him a lot better now that he's got rid of the man bun. I don't know why that's a big thing with me, but I'm like, well, maybe it's a bit decent as well. I'm getting rid of the man bun, but I think he's an Arsenal supporter as well, right?
Yeah. So, Stan, back to your question. I would like to see him in an Arsenal shirt. Would be nice.
5 pence.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not a bad tally then.
Yeah. So, Lonzo, before I go to Tony, quick one on Brentford.
Brentford by Burnley, right?
Brentford, Watford. Yeah.
Oh wow, this is Derby game, right? So, I mean, I think.
Derby, yeah.
And I think Brentford are on the way up. I think Ivan Toney, like I said, is a great goal scorer. I think that he would do well in this game as well. Brentford are just going to go down. I think they're going to get relegated. So yeah, this is Brentford's game to lose.
There you go. And Tony.
Yeah.
Brentford.
Still waiting for a sponsorship of this part of a thing. It's for Who Gives a Fuck Game of the Week.
There we go.
Brought
There
to
you
you by whoever wants to come in. But
But Brentford scored quite a few goals in their last game, didn't they?
yeah,
Chelsea.
I think
Chelsea.
I think Brentford wins this one easily.
Cool. All right, so let's go. We'll continue. We'll looping back and forth. So, Lonzo, you're going to start with this one going backwards. But so Aston Villa and Liverpool canceled. Leeds United and Chelsea canceled. Mr. Tom should be happy. They don't have a game this weekend, and they don't have a game against Chelsea. So, moving on.
What do
So-
they have? One more game left this month? That's crazy.
That's right. I think they said by the time they play again, most teams will have 3 and 4 games up on them. They would have played at least 3 or 4 games. So yeah, not good for them. That it's going to crowd it all in, I guess. So next up is we've got Leicester City traveling to Newcastle. So Lonzo, this should be a really good game.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think, Leicester are kind of riding high off that Conference League semifinal place. I think that they're putting more eggs in that basket to maybe get a spot in Europa League next year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put on a half roster. And Newcastle, they're on the rise, I guess, with the newfound funds they have. But I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
Okay. Wow. All right. And Tony?
I think Leicester wins it. They're trying to get up into a European spot.
Yeah.
They've been doing pretty good lately. They're going to try to make a late push and catch Wolves or United, which are both kind of struggling a little bit. But I go with Leicester.
All right. And Stan?
I think Newcastle they're having a little bit of an upturn, and I think that a draw for them would almost be like having a home advantage against Leicester. I don't think Newcastle will lose this one, so I agree with Alonso that I think it could be a draw. I just don't know what the score. I'm not sure the score, but I think I could see a draw.
Cool. And before we go to our last one, Stan, we Wolves would have been playing City this weekend at home, but they've got FA Cup duties, so that game's canceled as well. So last up, you've got is it semifinalist, right? West Ham playing home to Burnley, is that right? The semis, right? The semis, right? It's the semis, right? So West Ham had a really good day today. I think they won. Did they win 3-1?
Was that in Europa League?
Yeah. They looked really good today. I think did they score 3 or 4? I can't remember now, but yeah. So Stan, so you've got West Ham playing home to Burnley.
3-0.
They seem to be
right. Oh, 3. All right, 3-0.
I just think they seem to be suffering a little bit with the Europe games, and then playing on the Sunday, it seems to be affecting them a little bit. And Burnley are kind of in fighting mode now to try and salvage some points. So I think that could also be a low scoring draw as well.
All right. So Tony, how do you feel? The same?
I think it's probably be a draw. Probably be my upset pick of the week.
All right. Yeah, it's a big one. It's 12 plays difference there. That's
good
be a big
pick.
one. Yeah, and Lonzo, Burnley at West Ham.
This is my upset special week. I'm going for Burnley 2-1.
Nice. That is
A lot of points to be collected, isn't it? If we get that one.
Yeah.
Well, they'd be happy.
And that keeps us hopefully solidly in 5th place, right? So that'd be nice no matter what we do. So I think that would be good, right? I think we are still 3 points ahead of them, right? So yeah, no matter what. So if they can't get a win, then we're still looking okay. So we'll take that. We will take that. United is the only team that could probably threaten us. So, and that's it for all of our picks. I think we've got the basically 4 games were canceled because of the FA Cup. Anybody got any thoughts on the FA Cup, or we don't care?
I don't care.
I want Big Pat to get a win over Chelsea.
All right, so there we yeah.
Yeah, I'd second that. I'd like to see Patrick. I think Patrick. Yeah, I'd like to see him win the FA Cup. Why not?
All right. And then the other game would be the other game is going to be the 2 challenging for the top of the table, and also it's a quad or a triple, or, a triple being at stake depending on how the game goes, right? So, and it's either a triple for Chelsea.
Could even go to penalties or something, right? Could be a draw and goes to penalties because they seem to cancel themselves out sometimes when you get these big teams against each other.
Yeah,
I think Liverpool win that one because the game that City had was a tough one.
Yeah, and I think they lost. They had 3 players go down. Right, Walker was in. It would look like he is injured. Might not. He might be back. He might not be back. KDB was out. He probably will be back. And Foden even got down for a little while. Jack Grealish's hair got pulled, so I don't know if he'll be ready to play. You didn't see that?
I heard that Jack Grealish had an argument with someone. Was that right?
Yeah, he called the guy something with it that starts with a C, and the guy didn't take too kindly to it, so his hair got grabbed.
Oh, I see. So it was in retaliation.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the same guy who put a tackle in on Foden, I believe. He had a good day, and the tunnel, you saw that they showed the tunnel afterwards, and they're both still going back and forth with each other. So, and it looked like a player spit to me, the way that he moved, because he was one of those like he kind of launched himself, and it's like you don't do that unless you're doing something silly like that. But I don't know that there's no more comments on that. But the tunnel had police officers in it. Let's just say that, separating the players from each other. So, yeah, the way that game ended, and for me, City played Atleti's game. They didn't like it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where and that's the thing, right? We always talk about sometimes we might have to play a different style of football. We can't do that, right? If somebody said, you know what, you're gonna I watched that game, and the first thought I had is, we are not ready to play in the Champions League. We can't play on the road against Atletico Madrid. Not the way that they play. I mean, we had problems with Burnley last year.
Yeah.
This is a
but here's the thing. Can I just answer? I see a lot of people saying we shouldn't be in the Champions League. We're not ready. But if we qualify for the Champions League, we get even more money than the money that's set aside. You get better players in the summer, and then you're not the same animal as you are now. You're a much different beast in the Champions League. Even if you get knocked out after you're still making more money. It's a progression thing, and as fans, we get to see more football. We get to see our team play another game in a week.
And plus, the following season, we need those players because the new format starts 10 group stages, more money in Champions League. So, to me, I'd be going out there spending that money and getting the players.
Yeah, and that right there, right? No Gallagher because of the affiliation with Chelsea. Probably right there might be a big issue for them.
And I don't give a big deal why people say no championship. Champions League, we're not ready for it. Spurs finished a point ahead of us, went to the semifinal.
Exactly.
Now our former managers.
I don't like that. I don't like that comment that it's because that team made it to the finals that we can do it, because I don't like because you're giving them some praise, and I'm not giving them any praise. They were stupid the way they set that game up. There's no way Kane should have played. He didn't even get them to the finals. They brought him in. He was still rusty, and it looked like it. Right?
What it shows you though is that it's easier to get to the finals of the Champions League and perhaps win it than it is to win the Premier League. And you've got to be in it to win it. If you're not in it, then you haven't got the chance. So I'd rather we were in it, because I think that we would be improved just by the even extra increase of money and being at that table, we have a chance then to battle for a Darwin Núñez or a Jonathan David, because we now have that to offer. But
Yeah, Europa. How many of those top targets are to come if we just get their 6 spot?
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, I mean that's the only thing we have by getting into the Champions League, because the football right now isn't going to bring people in. The opportunity to play in the Champions League will, more than the way that the football is being played and coached and managed. That's the bad part about it is, all right, Arsenal does get into the Champions League. Do they still not come?
How I'd like to do it, if I had a magic wand and I was allowed to say, okay, this is going to be our future, I would like us to qualify for the Europa League, and then I would like to see us win the Europa League with these players that we have. It's almost like a preliminary sort of warm-up. We qualify for the Champions League, hopefully because of our league place, not because we won the Europa League. And then it's like a springboard. There's a taste of Europe. There's a taste of winning something in Europe. And sometimes as a completionist, right, even when I start a season off on FIFA, I'll start in the Europa League and not the Champions League, because I want to win that. I want to have it written on my CV that I won that. Do you know what I mean? So I would like us to do it.
Yeah, I always started out that way too.
I'd like us to do it that way.
Think about it. Chelsea, what do they do?
Win.
Won the Europa League, right? Next, soon late after that, they won a Champions League.
I just think as well, for some of the young players that we have, if you're taking a journey together and you achieve that, then it gives you, maybe you look at each other and you think, now let's all together go to the next one. We can do something. We won this. Now we can do the next thing. The manager will bring us better players in. We'll be a better team. There's that. I just think that's a great way to do it.
My initial thought has always been, I don't want us to skip the line. I want us to grow, like you said, grow as a team, get better, and then show that by moving into the next level. Europa League being it. So for me, I'm fine. I understand Champions League is where you want to be, and that's how you get the more players. But I don't think we're not even ready to bring those players in, and they're not going to get one. Like I said, the coaching and the management to make it work. We need, even if say you bring in those big players, we're still light. The squad is still light. You can't do that if you bring in a 70, 80 million pound player. It's just not going to work. You need to bring. We need to bring in another 6 players again.
Yeah. We're in a place where we need to spend. We can't just go out and spend 80 million on one guy. We're in a place where we want to spend 80 million on maybe 2.5 people. You know what I mean? You go through the Europa League. You make a name for yourself. You're now in the Champions League. You've got money. You then go out and go, right, now we can go and bring in an 80 million guy. Do you know what I mean? And you've got your traction as well. People are looking at you thinking they're going to the next step, but I can be a part of that. And then you get the next Darwin Núñez that will have be making his name, hopefully by then. The next Haaland.
Winning breeds winning, and jumping to the Champions League isn't going to breed winning because we're not ready. We're not ready for it, but we get to play in it. So I guess it's good, but it's not, because we get into the wrong group, right? We get in the wrong group, and it's just painful every time we play. Everybody's looking forward to playing it until the game starts, and then goes, "Oh man, I wish we weren't in here," right? And then you have to turn around afterwards and then play a Premier League game, which are always easy, right? They're like a step down from a Champions League match, right? Right? You play Atletico Madrid on a Wednesday, and then you're playing on the road at Southampton or Burnley, whoever stays up. It's a struggle, right? So.
As opposed to going to Ludogorets and then going to Liverpool. I couldn't get it right against Ludogorets. What am I going to do here?
So yeah, I think I like the stepping stone approach, because I think we need to grow, and we can't skip steps on this thing.
or Gary, or you make it to the quarterfinals and you play Bayern Munich and lose 8-0.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We don't want that either, because that's what happens,
Embarrassing.
right? When you bring your young players in, you say you don't want to punish them, right? We always say that you don't want to bring your young players in and have them play and get destroyed because it's bad mentally. Same thing for Arsenal. You make it through the group because you had an easy group, and then next thing you know, you're playing one of the big teams, and it's not even close. It's and then you're supposed to then continue playing on with your other games that you have.
You know, it makes you appreciate that 06 team
Mm.
even
Yeah, there's a
more
lot of
because what they accomplished in the
past
final.
things.
You know,
Yep. All right, so here we go.
and then
We have
also,
hit.
sorry.
Go ahead, you finish it, because we're gonna shut it down after. Go ahead.
And it was quite amazing to see that 09 team as well go far as they did with the young gunners with Fabregas and Van Persie and Eddie Bayard and those guys. With of course, they got going out by a better Manchester United team, but still, it was growing pains, right?
Oh, definitely. So we've hit the 2-hour mark by a little bit. We're over by 10. Sorry, Tony. We're gonna head out of here. So I'm gonna everybody have their last say as we move out. So Alonzo, anything else you want to say before we head out of here?
Yeah. So this game in Southampton is kind of important because we just need a win just to hopefully steer us in the right direction. Unfortunately, that's kind of be hard to do because it says Southampton, but Arteta has to play it right and use the formations properly, use the proper players and proper positions. Could we win it at St. Mary's? Yes. It's going to be tough, yes, but this is the kind of wins we should have had against Crystal Palace and Brighton. So hopefully this game will get something out of it. So hopefully it's a positive result and go from there, or one game at a time.
I hear you. And Tony?
Yeah, hopefully we found the smelling salts and we're woken up, play a full 90 minutes. Arteta doesn't do something stupid, playing players out of position. Just go out there, put them where they need to be. They should take care of business. Should come in fired up after losing 3 in a row. So I think it's time to go out there and earn their paychecks. Should be an easy task. Just go out there and play.
Cool. I hear you. And it's like Ray he must have just been on his way to the restroom or something like that, because he should be sleeping. But hello, Ray. How you doing? Hope your trip is going well. Make like a tree and get out of here. There you go. Uh-oh. What? So Stan, I guess now that you have enough money to buy like like 100 kebabs.
As you know, when I logged in, I found I had the access to all of the chat. So when I was answering Tony about having a kebab and I'll put it in there, it came up as Arsenal Fan Circle instead of me. And I was like,
oh, that's right.
I wonder what mischief I can cause with that.
That's right. I forgot that we are Arsenal fans. I could do the same thing. I haven't actually, but there you go. So Ray doesn't know it, but he's out $500 right now.
No, he's written it in the chat. He's written it in the chat box, so my lawyers will use
and it
that
will
as
be
evidence.
on the interweb for everybody to see. So there you go. There you go. So Stan, anything else you want to say before we head out?
No, enjoyed the show.
He said, "Hurry up! It's kebab time."
I did not say that.
No kebab. I had a kebab last night. But good show. Good talking about the Arsenal and just looking forward to what we do at the weekend. And as I say, the old Jack in the Box, that's going to be our lineup. You know, who knows what we're going to see when we open up that team lineup. Can't wait.
Definitely. And I'd like to say thank you to everybody in the chats that joined us and anybody who watches the replay tomorrow. Hope you have a good one. We will see you here again on Sunday. Hopefully we have some good things to talk about.
Wants to come backstage.
This is my third third go at this. I guess I can put the invite in there. Anybody wants to chat, but
You're a natural, Gary. You're a
yeah.
natural. Seriously,
So,
I actually find that there's a difference between being a panel guest and being a host.
yeah,
There is a
It
big difference.
definitely. Thank you.
Gary does both of them so much, it's easy for him. Come on.
That's where it's so like before we go. So like I say, thank you everybody. We will do this again on Sunday. Hopefully we
Cheers,
get the 3
everyone.
points. This is my third time saying it. 3 points Sunday discussion. Hopefully we get to talk about it. We'll see you again on Thursday. My words to you, like usual, life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. And we'll see you again. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.